So we'll take an analysis of why we're here today. Why Ghana, that was invariably the poster boy for the IMF, the other Bretton Woods institutions, and the developed world, said to be the country that is on the map, has now become the country for which investor confidence is that low. And then we'll talk about what the rescue efforts really are for those communities along the channels where we have the Akosombo Dam spillage. Because as we know, millions of Ghana cedis, if not dollars, have been lost by residents in various communities, right from the eastern region into the Volta region. And then also properties worth of same also lost. We're told that the president, through an inter-ministerial committee, and then he himself is leading a delegation to many of the communities that have been affected. What really is needed in those communities? And how can we make sure that we bring relief to those individuals as well as brothers and sisters in those communities? Helping us do the discussion rightfully is a regular on the show. And George, you see, is the Director of Communications for the National Disaster Management Organization. He will be part of that big delegation led by the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to the disaster site. He's right here in the studio. Good morning to you. Yeah, George, well-clad in a vest or a beep, or how do you call this one?
You've worked with this before.
All right. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah. How about you?
Well, it cannot be too good for the communities, right?
Yeah, it's not too good.
And then also we have Eduji Tamaklo. And your first name is Godwin, eh?
That is correct.
Okay. Godwin Eduji Tamaklo. There's Kojo also somewhere there, or Kujo. And he's a legal practitioner, currently director of the legal committee of the NDC. How are you?
Good morning, Roland, and good morning to George. I'm not sure that my people in the lower Volta Basin, this is a good morning for them. We are confident that the intervention of the state will be rapid and ASAP to resolve one of the worst humanitarian crises to have happened in Ghana. Remember that this crisis had never happened in the last 50 years. And that makes it extremely unprecedented.
Unprecedented.
Yes, and we want to believe that state actors who at least have demonstrated a lot of indolence in the past few days would be up to the task going forward. Because the situation is not abating. This morning when I checked the numbers, the water within the reservoir is still going extremely high. The highest is supposed to be 278. This morning, it is 277. What it means is that you need to do a balancing act. The integrity of the dam and the survival of our people.
Of the communities. All right.
Along. Yeah.
Well, we'll come back and talk about some of those important issues. So we'll use that as a preface before we launch into the main issues about how we are here as a country. Now, we also encourage you, make sure you cash out with us. It goes with a short code *439#. And so with *439#, you are, after the draw, able to get accumulated sums of money into your mobile money account. And that's a good thing about it. So at the end of the segment, we're able to give you all that. And then also have some other bonanzas that are available through Dewa 539 Chop Money, because that also goes with a short code *446#. And all you need to do is to make sure that you join Dewa 539 Chop Money every morning at 10 a.m. And then also after that draw at 10 a.m., there's also an evening draw at 7 p.m. You can also play the Sunday special exclusively also on Sundays, and then you get to win big. And that draw will take place at 6 p.m. Again, all you need to do is to make sure you dial *446#, and then you choose the various options that enables you to win big. And option 1, you also get to play the draw as well. Option 2 also enables you. You have to pen the numbers, because the ones available are between the range of 1 to 39, and that becomes big for you, okay? Now, just in case you have some customer complaints, you can touch base with them on their website, www.dewa-nla.com and get the latest. As you do that, let me just recognize some key individuals on our stream, as we always do. It's been a while. We have to apologize for the stream going off the previous period, but I have a couple of you as well. Akasokri Joseph, Money, many of you joining us. Owusu Eyiram Yao, etc. And then Samuel Inti Ochre. And that's a good thing about it. Now, George, let's touch base quickly with the disaster issues before we come to the finance minister. So how many people have been affected based on the counts that you've estimated as a national disaster management organization, George?
Yeah, thank you. Good morning to you. Good morning to Council. Good morning to our viewers and your production crew. We're looking at 9 districts that have been affected.
9 districts?
9 districts. But the Yellow Crowbar one is yet to be hit hard. The remaining 8 have been affected. And the Anglo and the Adan East are the hardest hits because they are the estuaries, okay, of the Volta Lake. So, and Bator, that's where the camp is, where Mepe, these communities have also been hit. That's North Tong, Central Tong, and South Tong. These are the other hardest hit areas of the spillage. What we need to put on record is that as before coming on air, Council gave us some data, the maximum level of 278 meters, and we are around 277. It tells you something, Roland. About 100, according to the Deputy CEO of VRA, Mr. Kenzo, about 156 billion cubic meters, or is it metric tons of water is held behind the dam. You get it? And because of the rate at which the water level is rising, if we don't spill, the dam is exposed to danger. You get it? And so this controlled spillage, we started from 15th of September, level 1 or phase 1, they started spilling around 1,000 cubic meters per second, which was gentle. And then when the rate was rising, they needed to increase it to 5,000 cubic meters per second, which was a level 2 or phase 2 spillage. And that means we've heightened the disaster level. That is what it means. And as we speak, it's about 6,700 cubic meters per second that is being spilled. And in all these, we are talking of about 6,000 metric tons of water that is being pushed out, okay, as compared to over 156 billion metric tons of water that is held by the dam. The issue and the danger, this is the lesser evil that we are encountering. And we want viewers to get to know that. This is the lesser evil. What it means is that if we don't, VRA doesn't control this spillage well, and then the dam itself is exposed to danger because of the volumes. What it means, we all pray it doesn't happen, and we are not anticipating that happening. If there's any issue with the dam, this 156 metric tons of water that is held there is going to be pushed out. Then the whole of Sayo Sudoku, the whole of the Adan Enclave, Bator, all the way, maybe, you know. And again, this is controlled because the risk, one critical national asset on the way downstream is the Sogakope Bridge. If you watch this thing, the water
it was just beneath the bridge,
yes,
which was very unusual.
Yes, yes. And so that's also another danger VRA is looking at, okay? Hence the controlled spillage. And this is what has resulted in the inundation of these communities along the downstream of the Volta Lake. Roland, let's put on record that in May of this year, we did a simulation exercise, okay? By, you know, sensitizing the communities, all the 9 districts.
Did you do that intensely?
Yes, we
intensively.
did. Yes, we did. We did one whole week, okay, where we moved from a team in Ada. You're on your team, you know, you were there. all the media houses, we sent them there. And some Ada East, we moved to Bator. I was in Bator. I went to Ada as well. Then we went to Akosombo. So those were the things. In fact, in the simulation exercise, we didn't deploy a team in the south town area there. Cool. So these are the issues. We sensitive, but we got all the district assemblies involved. We worked in partnership with them, and we, told them there's a possibility of these happening. Okay, and so hence the exercises. And when it does happen, these are the things, measures they need to put in place and to move to safer grounds, identify places when VRA has what we call the inundation map. Okay, so when it happens that way, where do we move to for safety and all that? And so that is an engagement between VRA and the communities over a period. And so NADMO was part, and the other response agencies were involved. And so we did all these things, but we didn't, what is happening as of now, the volumes and is something that, is actually hit us. Even though we got the people involved, you see almost a whole house and submerged underwater. It's worrying, and we empathize with the situation. Our team is there, the army is there with us, all other response agencies are there with us, doing all we can to ensure that the people's lives are protected, and some properties that can be salvaged are salvaged. It's not as if we are.
Well, Mr. Isi, so for example, Sigaman on our stream says today it looks like your slang has. He says Mr. Isi's English is now has been washed away by the water. I mean, making a light-hearted moment of it. But the Bedia Geoffrey seems to be having a nagging question. And he says, why is it that government is now visiting the site?
Well, government
let's say a delegation maybe led by the vice president, when the president was away, for example.
Yeah.
It now has to take over a week, etc., before we have the president going.
Oh, VRA is a government agency. NADMO is a government agency. The Ghana
is it the
Armed
same
Forces,
thing?
No. The Ghana Armed Forces, they are all part. And
I
if
understand.
the president
I'm saying, is it the same thing?
It's not the same.
If you have a delegation of VRA, the voter regional minister
has been there. The voter regional minister has been there. You get it? And he's been there all throughout. And other top-ranking people have joined in the thing. So it's good that
Did you inform the president that this was a very disastrous situation, and so he should have delegated the vice president to go instead of us to wait for him to come from abroad?
Said he truncated his visit in the U.S. and is down here because of this.
I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
I said that he will be visiting. I didn't say he truncated his visit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he truncated his visit.
So that is it. He wasn't in town, and he's come because of this. Okay. So that is it tells you how much importance this is to the president. And it's his people. And so if his people are in this difficult situation, it's good the president set up this interministerial committee, and he himself is leading it to the place. But the chief of staff is the one chairing the committee. I believe we are going to work in partnership to ensure that we bring relief to the people.
As we try to conclude on this subject, Eduji, your own observations. When the former president, John Dramani Mahama, did visit the place, he did observe, and we also picked the information on the ground live. Citizens crying that they hadn't been supplied relief items by Mr. George Isi's organization, the National Disaster Management Organization, to the point that John Dramani Mahama says that it looks like NADMO just don't have the stock of relief items. That should be a concern for anybody who knows all the tributaries and the communities living around the Volta Lake.
I think that we need to put matters in proper perspective. This particular humanitarian crisis that we are seeing, like I pointed earlier, from the 1960s, we've not had any situation close to this.
The point of information, Council, 2010, there was spillage, but it wasn't.
No, I mean, to this
the magnitude.
level.
Yeah. I think the last one was 1968.
Yeah.
To be
to this level, we have never seen a thing like this.
Yes.
Now, you would notice, and from the observation, there had been a serious question of policy failure and planning. That's what we are seeing.
Sure.
The level that we are seeing today is simply because people went home to sleep.
Sure.
And in those times when they were sleeping, the water level kept rising. Look, and I have read reports that suggest that between the Ghana Meteo and VRA, they are blaming each other. One is saying that we rely on your data, which suggested that this year, the drought and rainfall analysis will not result in this. And so they relied on that particular data or information and went to sleep. So by July, things have taken a different turn and the water level started increasing. In fact, if they had started the processes of regulated spillage, even around May, things would have been different.
No.
Because you see, they were relying, according to VRA, the data from the Ghana Meteo, which suggested that the rainfall pattern this year will not be anything extraordinary. But you will notice that the water, the increased volume, is not coming from the rainfall pattern within Ghana, but water from outside the country, Mali, Burkina, and the rest. So they went to sleep. And that is what has caused the problem. If they were a bit proactive, we won't be where we are. And like if you see the video, the pictures, it's horrible. Beyond the health issues, remember that once water, because this is their source of drinking water among many other things. So if they cannot drink this water again and they cannot get relief items being delivered to them ASAP, the danger is they want to take this water and the higher level of contamination. And when there is contamination, the higher level of cholera outbreak, among other things. So we are facing, beyond all other things, serious health challenges. One would say that the decision by government to now move, even though I didn't see a certain level of priority in the beginning, for almost a week, government conduct was almost lackadaisical until the committee was put in place, chaired by the chief of staff. The responses have not been the best. VRA has basically demonstrated incompetence. Sure. I agree that the integrity of the dam ought to be protected. But the water just suddenly didn't just swell up.
In a week.
In a week.
It did.
No, I mean, when I say swell up, you can see there's somebody's responsibility to be looking at the process.
Spillage started 15 September.
Hold on, please. Before 15 September, the water level started increasing.
And you are talking also by measuring the,
Yes.
or monitoring the forecast.
Yes. And you knew that the major source of water into the dam is not only Ghana. It's not accumulation of surface water within only Ghana, but outside the country. So what has been the level of intergovernmental collaboration? What has been the nature of information sharing among these countries that enables you to do a proper forecast? And so for me, it's the failure in forecasting. That is what has resulted in this. And at this point, I think it's only fair. And I want to believe that an agency or authority like VRA would have the capacity to have even funds dedicated when some of these things happen. That quickly you can move in terms of compensating the people who have been affected within the community. That is very important to restore normalcy to the lives of the people within the areas affected. And I want to urge all corporate agencies, when COVID struck, the unprecedented nature of COVID-19, private individuals, companies, all came on board to help in the COVID process. This is equally unprecedented. And I'll plead with all the major companies that as part of their corporate social responsibility, starting from TV3, possibly you
Media General.
Yeah, Media General.
You should put together a relief fund.
Beyond that, a short code that allows for mobilization of funds ASAP in order to reach out to the people within the affected area. I mean, this had really created huge humanitarian effort. Now that Mr. President is back from his foreign trip, I think that with him being in charge, the level of mobilization would see a certain level of seriousness going forward.
Okay.
Yesterday, I saw the military.
Yeah.
They were there. They had done some area, demarcation, monitoring.
Okay.
Of the
Reconnaissance.
area.
We have set up an
and-
EOC at
What is EOC?
the Emergency Operations Center,
Where?
and
More
it's
or less.
monitoring at Bato.
Okay. Let me just-
And
let me supply
if
information.
you look at a place like Mepe,
Yes.
some of the places that the water level had, gotten to, I'm sure you cannot even anticipate that water would ever get to that place.
Yeah.
But there is water there now. And so it puts all the matters into different perspective.
Right.
And my biggest worry now, because this morning when I check the forecast, what it means is that they will be doing more spillage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now look at the Sugakope, the bridge. That's one of my biggest headache now.
Strategic.
Because that particular bridge connects Southern Volta to the rest of Ghana. And if that bridge is undermined in any form, you are basically going to cut off a whole part of this country from the rest of the capital. And
Right.
I think that all the agencies must put everything, traditional authorities, citizens and everything must cooperate under the circumstance to ensure that valuable state assets are not compromised also. So we need to balance the
Okay.
interests.
That's
under
what
the
VRA has been doing.
That's
And
what
for,
they've been
yes,
doing.
and for
Okay.
the information of the public, VRA immediately is committed about 10 million Ghana cedis.
Only 10 million?
No, less than. Immediately.
Only 10
He's
million?
using ASAP. But they are generally looking at about 20 million in the immediate.
20 million
to support,
cedis?
Yes, to support
right.
the process. And
All right.
government, is also going to go in.
Let me just take
the water issue.
Let me take some,
yes,
and
okay,
then you
finish
can
and then
answer
let's
this.
add both.
Accra Commando, who is watching, says this is a disaster of many magnitude. Yeah. And then also, Oklu Emmanuel says, Mr. AC should be honest to the people that they did not do intensive sensitization program. I also do know that the VRA, I spoke to a high official in the VRA who said they do this annually.
Yes.
It's because the community also seem to think that, well, this will not happen because it hasn't happened largely
with
at
this
the scale.
simulation.
Dennis Hetro says, I agree with Eduji totally. I'm not an engineer, but I know all of this could be calculated to reduce the damage if monitoring
No.
is done.
No.
Okay. Collins Coffee Boss says, mortuaries and graves are all flooded, contributing to a health crisis.
Yeah.
And then also, I have this one from Agbefia from Mefe, says, while Bato is not flooded, it is Mefe, for which I'm a native and also a victim, for which we need a lot of help. Now, the Great Slow says, if this had happened in other jurisdictions, the government of the day would have declared a state of emergency in these flooded communities. But as usual, we're back after a week before a visit by the president. What was the vice president doing all along? And then Evans Blaze says the vice president was all about campaigning while he was waiting for the president. Very interesting comments there. Now,
Yes,
And you see, hold on. This point for me is very critical. The president left the country outside to deliver a speech. Proud to live in. The problem was there. I want to believe that responsibility relative to the vice president taking over as president was key. He was in Northeast and the rest campaigning in the midst of a national crisis, unprecedented. And I consider that to be the height of irresponsibility. If tomorrow, God forbid, something else happened, are you going to have your November 4th primaries? Definitely not. And if you have a national crisis of this proportion, must the vice president wait for Mr. President to return He had never stepped a foot in all the affected areas from the time this crisis started to today. This is not what we require of the acting president. He swore an oath to be responsible. This is the height of irresponsibility. And I take strong exception to this. I want to believe that if this thing had happened in Northeast, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia would have been there. And hold on. And I am very serious about this. No. Because you see, he was the acting president for Christ's sake.
I disagree with you.
You said this thing started from where? The 15th of September.
Yes, spillage started.
But last week,
1,000 cubic meters per second.
But last week, you are aware.
As we speak, it's 6,700 cubic meters.
You knew that the places have been inundated by water. What stopped the vice president in prioritizing the needs of the people there? At least go and see what is going on. Is it not of a priority?
The regional minister will not
even the regional minister went there 3 days after.
The army, the NADMO, the VRA will not apprise the presidency.
There's a reason why he's the acting president.
Please.
There's a reason why he is.
You don't just move in.
You do what?
You know.
You do what?
Know. National security gives you a briefing.
Oh, so it is not an
emergency organization will tell you the situation.
Are you telling me?
We'll give you the sit-rep. Okay?
No, but are you telling me now that it is not that national security are giving the go-ahead?
You know these things.
That's irresponsibility. He was campaigning for votes.
We can do our
No, but he was campaigning for votes.
All right.
And then for me, it's irresponsible.
It's unfortunate. You see, he started very well, being very nationalistic and bringing people together.
So we need a level of nationalism. But the call, because you know,
a timely visit by the vice president is nationalistic.
The president is going there.
Okay.
After how many days?
The regional minister has been there. The Army 48, NADMO, VRA.
Was that not the reason why he was the acting?
Don't worry. Emergency Operation Center has been set up.
Okay.
The water issue is true. VRA is deployed tankers, NADMO partnership and co. They are supplying water. As I said, the water has been contaminated because of the flooding. Okay, and so we are getting sachet water. Everything. Safe havens have been established.
Anthony Nikwenu says the disaster in the lower Volta Basin is a matter of understanding the issues and making cogent submission, not a matter of coming to spew English. It's 60 years since the Volta River got to this level. Many inhabitants have encroached the river pathways, and they must take caution going forward. And then he also says that the various tributaries of the Volta River needs to be dredged because the VRA needs to ensure it invests in dredging.
Some of these things have exposed.
Technically, is it true that if dredging was undertaken, it could have reduced?
I don't.
Have you gotten it in your briefing?
No, I have not gotten that yet, and I don't want to. Do you know why? Because of the rate of spillage, and then
you made an
gradual,
George,
increase. Oh, please,
Mr.
Council,
you made an interesting
Council, you've been speaking. So let me. So the gradual, and then the increase from 1,000 to 5,000 to 6,700 as of now. Okay, it's all for the protection and safety of the dam itself. And I told you the consequences. I'm saying this is the lesser of the two evils. Okay, the other one may submerge, a lot of the districts, including Shao, Sudoku, Ada, and then possibly Angmo and Co. So these are worrying things that we need to look at going forward. I agree with my brother, the regional organizer of NDC, Anthony Nukwenu, that, some of these things have exposed certain things. And so going forward, I believe the approach of VRA may change, okay? If there's the need for dredging and all that, it can be factored in. But for now, sensitization, engagement. What is more, this the simulation. The people were there. They saw us, ambulances, everything moving. Then they asked, so this is, why we are doing these exercises and code. The chiefs were all roped in. Okay, the district assembly, everybody in all the 9 districts. Okay, so these are things that we had foretold the people that is likely to happen. Okay, and unfortunately, it's happened and it's gotten to this level. As for the politics of it, I don't want to dabble in
What
that.
is politics about?
Today, you know, my brother hoping in the vice president and co. There are teams in. People are working. When it gets to a point, okay, then state machinery. As it is, the president has set up interministerial committee because it seems that we've gotten to a very critical level. And he himself is going with the committee to go.
So which time is the president going? Which time?
By 10 o'clock.
All right. So let me.
Just 30 seconds. You see,
so that's the
VRA
situation.
has a dredging unit. You are aware?
Yes.
Which supposed to do a lot of the works around Adan.
You know, they spilled the Akosombo and Pong, both. That's the situation.
So one feeds the other.
Yeah.
So if you spill the other and you don't do, you compromise the other one as well. But the most important thing is that VRA has a dredging unit. What has been the work of that unit? Because you see, the water level at the tail end, the estuary, where it enters into the sea, where that's really where the issue is. Yeah. If the water is able to move into the sea ASAP, there wouldn't be a backlog.
Yeah.
And so if it doesn't have a lot of openings in order to enter, it will find its way. And if the process is not dredged, it makes it difficult for the exit end. And that is where the problem is. VRA has a dredging unit. What have they been doing over the period? And that's what I'm saying, that this is a problem of forecasting. People got it wrong.
No,
and it's
GMET had forecasted. You know, GMET...
People have the responsibility to do that.
GMET has done all these things.
And what I see is a question of...
VRA was aware, hence the simulation.
It's a question of failure in proper planning and forecasting.
No, I disagree.
And that is what
VRA has emergency preparedness plan. And as
know.
part of that, that's why we have a simulation. Okay,
and I'm surprised that my brother today does not see the urgent need.
No, I see.
Hold on.
I see.
The urgent need of the acting president for all these people.
Before the president came in.
Yes, and the man was campaigning.
So the first time, why do we have ministers?
Please. Look, Alan Tremantin.
Why do we have
to go to the place? Alan went there.
Yes. And John Mahama also went there.
Yes, on Friday.
Mahama is there.
Later,
so the vice president couldn't have gone there before these people.
But the vice president could have just taken
it. Nobody is saying that. It doesn't mean it takes everything away. No, the politics of it.
All right. Okay, it's okay. Let me just settle on some few messages and then we'll go to the finance minister and then the debt accrual.
We don't need a vice president.
Is there.
All right. It's okay. It's okay. Dr. Samuel Bukari Kando says, I really don't understand the black man. Why are we not preventive in nature than being curative? We only wait for the distraction, then we go pretending to commiserate with affected people. I'm so disappointed this morning. Our weather forecaster is not international, and by way of training,
They forecasted.
They forecasted.
And council was right. You know,
they forecasted.
Up there
I have this one from Elliot Wogbe, who said, I would like to ask the NADMO representative, Mr. Isi, why they couldn't at least do the last-minute intensification of engagement before the actual spillage. Listening to him now, and the comment allegedly reported by Wontumi clearly shows the government has deliberately decided to ignore the cry of the people. If they feel they don't get votes from them, so their lives do not matter.
You see, so far, nobody's touched on that. I told you three...
Hamza, Alhaji Hamza says, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bamia, was in Kumasi the first day the KG tier market got bent and assured them of speedy work on the market, which never sees the light of day. I'm so disappointed and sad in the comments that are coming from government officials. Well, the last time I checked, and that's from Sampi Yali, was that there was an inter-ministerial committee. The last time the inter-ministerial committee was put together for Galamsey, the situation got worse.
Oh.
I don't know why. And then Bright Appear of Child Rights International says Child Rights International.
All of us.
He says, Bright Appear of Child Rights International says, Child Rights International has sent key officers monitoring the bad situation of children, many of whom are out of school and also could be facing possible health crisis.
Yeah.
And this, based on their findings, will be made public soon to ensure that all agencies come on board to look at the vulnerable. I have this one from Eden from Mefe. I work at NADMO in the Volta region. I shouldn't have information about spillage to educate my family and community. Mr. Eyisi knows the truth. Information doesn't come to the various officers in the districts.
Wow. You sure?
And Roland,
Is you
also,
sure?
maybe you can
All right.
look
The whole
at
thing.
what is the current state of
districts
even
were part of the whole
NADMO? Is
thing.
NADMO really disaster prepared?
All right. Okay. So
Do you have your stocks?
Do you have what is the standard operating procedure? And this is the question only to you, not to Edith. So what's the standard operating procedure when there is an emergency or a disaster? Do you go in with first line relief before you do the stock taking, or you look at?
Yes, we'll look at.
Okay.
We'll look at. We do the
So you
assessment.
look at before you.
The first one is to deploy a team to go and rescue people. Their safety is very important. That's the primary responsibility of any emergency response agency. Okay, and so you go there. If people are trapped, people's lives are in danger, and all that. That is a priority. Once you do that and you get them rescued to safety, identified safe havens and co, then you do the assessment. Okay, some will say head count. The young people, Bright just sent something thinking about children. Okay, you know how many children are involved, how many adults, male, female, and that then determines what you need to bring in to support them. Okay, what kind of food support, whether wet food or
So
dry
what you're
food
saying is
and
it
all
what
that.
is in the book, or that's what you did?
No, that's what we do.
No,
And
that- is
that's
that-
exactly, yes, that's exactly what we did there. And this one, I told you, I'm surprised one of our staff is saying he's not aware. When a whole 9 districts...
It says
that-
information flow.
They've all been
So
informed. They are
how many
aware.
mattresses and etc. has been distributed so far?
About 4 truckloads of items have been sent there. Okay, and
To,
I've told
to how
you,
many affected people?
we are looking at the north of 14,000 people. North of 14,000 people affected, okay, directly. And the number is rising by the day. You get it. And so I wouldn't be surprised if by close of day today, we'll be looking at about 20, 25,000 people directly affected, okay? It is a national emergency, I agree. And so I'm happy the president and the interministerial committee are moving in there to assess it. And then that will also maybe heighten the relief support that government is going to deploy to support these people.
All right,
okay?
Juliana
So
Belinda
leave
Obri
the
says people in
politics
the
of it
affected
and then
communities are
help
also
people
Ghanaians,
save
and they
lives.
need their attention,
Okay,
Mr.
that's
Resident.
it,
That's too late in the
3
day.
regions have been
Thankfully-
affected. Greater Accra
thankfully-
in the Ada area, Eastern region,
All right.
Thankfully,
Akosombo
I've
area,
heard
Shai-Osudoku, and then the Volta region. Amlo is hit.
the Ghana
Yes,
Medical
thank you.
Association,
Yeah,
they
they are
are
all there.
coming.
Yes,
They have
they are all
given a
there.
clear indication
Yes.
of sending medical doctors
Yes, the
to
teams
the
are all there.
affected communities, the police as well. In all of this, one thing that we need to thank God for is that there have not been loss of human lives.
Yes, so far.
At least it's been
Yes.
properties,
Yes.
and there's been
Yes.
a spirited. I want to salute the sacrifices my people from Mafidugame to Mepe to all those areas.
If
They are
there's not been
resilient.
engagement and
Their
sensitization,
their resilience
this.
in standing up to this natural disaster
That's good.
is commendable.
That's good.